Don't just own cryptocurrency, own the blockchain. Introducing Inmutable Holdings, the blockchain holding company, managing the first ever portfolio of breakout blockchain businesses, driving awareness and adoption of digital platforms. Diversified, stable, lower volatility, over $100 million in assets. Inmutable Holdings, the blockchain holding company.
Hi, Jordan. How are you?
I'm great, Nir. Thanks for having me.
I'm so happy to have you. You know, I saw everything you're doing, and you're being you actually listed, and you have a cool ticker as well, and that we will mention and everything. You have so many things like to ask. I can ask you about the NFT, you know, NFT.com. I can ask you about the 800 you know, number Bitcoin. I can ask you about your past success and things that you did, about Mr. Wonderful and Kevin that is also here on our summit. But before that, maybe you can give a little bit of a background about yourself for people who don't know you, even a little bit before what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'm a boy from Buffalo, from a really big family. Family's the most important, so all that I do in business gets the most attention. But I'm one of 10 kids, 3 brothers, 6 sisters. I grew up in Buffalo, New York. I really owe everything to the fact that I had a really fast internet connection as a kid, and I grew up in a day and age where they didn't invent the concept of screen time. Kids and parents growing up right now regulate the amount of time that kids can be on the internet. I didn't have parents that did that. I got to spend all my time playing around with early operating systems, learning early internet frameworks. I used to love this website called HTML Goodies, and I taught myself how to program HTML, CSS style sheets, PHP with MySQL databases, and I became dangerous around building landing pages, and I was able to build some of my first internet companies as a teenager. So I went a really non-traditional path. But I attribute it to my parents allowing me to spend a lot of time on the computer and having technical parents who were also entrepreneurial. I highly encourage parents growing up now not to take the iPad away too soon. Maybe turn off YouTube and all that nonsense, but let your kids play around on the internet.
I love it. You know what? We will, after this interview, we'll take all the catchphrases and the buzzer. It's unbelievable. You're like a machine of phrases. I love it, and it's actually beyond the phrases, because to build something like you build here, it takes a lot of also strategy and understanding. A lot of things like deeply, and maybe you drive us through the company and what you're doing right now, because that's the main topic.
Yeah, absolutely. So Inmutable Holdings is the first true blockchain holding company to come to public equity markets. We've seen a lot of really amazing holding companies throughout time. We've seen Barry Diller in the 90s with the Interactive Corporation, which became a holding company for some amazing businesses like Ask.com, Match.com, Angie's List. Warren Buffett has built an incredible holding company, and I don't claim to hold a candle to him. He's really impressive in his own right, but Berkshire Hathaway is one of the most impressive holding companies of all time, with companies like Geico and Nebraska Furniture Market and Dairy Queen, and just a really incredible portfolio with a lot of balance sheet investments. Our thinking was really simple. Blockchain is really in its very early stages of development. Cryptocurrency is exciting. Bitcoin's been around for 12 years now, and it's amazing to see how it's matured. It's amazing to be part of this ecosystem and watch adoption. But for investors, for mainstream investors, with prohibitions on doing a lot of early stage token investing, a lot of this is Reg D. The Jobs Act prohibits investors from taking exposure to a lot of new cryptocurrencies before they launch. And with startups, not everyone can angel invest in a startup. We thought, hey, Why do a Series A and only bring this to Andreessen Horowitz in social capital and those traditional Silicon Valley wealthy money bag guys who are going to take too many seats on our board, and they're going to create too many rules, and they're going to make us build the type of company they want to build and not the company we want to build? We said, hey, what if we take this company public earlier, allow people to take exposure to a true portfolio of breakout blockchain businesses through public capital markets? Anyone today with a Canadian brokerage account can take exposure to Hold. I'm not telling you to go buy Hold. Let me be very clear. Speak with your financial advisor, do your own research, read our filing statements. I'm not telling you to go buy our stock, but Hold is a publicly traded company under the ticker HOLD, where we're building businesses like NFT.com, 1-800-Bitcoin, Mutable Asset Management, and then we have several planned business lines like a central bank digital currency business in CBDC.com, HBAR Labs. I was part of the founding team of HBAR, Hedera Hashgraph, and Immutable Advisory. So life is really short. I'm talking very fast and I'm moving very quickly because I want to do it all. I'm certainly trying to, and I've got a great team around me that helps me do it. But we're really excited, again, to be that first true blockchain holding company in public capital markets. And we're seasoned business builders. So I've been fortunate enough to sell a few companies. We created $15 to $20 billion in new market value with HBAR for investors in some incredible companies like Google, IBM, Boeing, LG Electronics, and now part of the blockchain ecosystem, thanks to the work that we did at Hedera Hashgraph. So we really think we're the right team. We think it's the right time. And we're really excited to grow both the businesses we have internally and then execute on a merger and acquisition strategy and be the consolidator. There's a lot of buddies of mine that are running some really exciting blockchain businesses. And for the first time ever, there's really dozens of blockchain companies with positive EBITDA, like positive free flowing cash flows that we think would be amazing additions to the Inmutable Holdings umbrella. You can definitely count on us to be active in the market, trying to roll some of those businesses into our holding structure.
So yeah, this is the umbrella. And it's more than an umbrella. Like I see it, like what you're telling us right now. It's like that you're building the OS, the operating system of our lives. I want to ask you, can you grow that fast to do all the things that you just mentioned, which each one of them is amazing by its own? How are you going to do this? How are you going to do it fast enough? You spoke about your team. Like, how are you going to build this?
I'm a very transparent guy, so it's not secret sauce. I think ideas are worth, they're a dime a dozen. I'll give you 10 cents for an idea. Very few people can execute on ideas. So people are always like, I can't tell you my business idea, it's confidential. We share ideas openly. Like, I'll tell you exactly what our game plan is, because there's very few people out there who I think are going to jack those ideas and execute on them the way our team can. So you need really great people. You need a pipeline of people, and you need a pipeline of capital. We've got cash on our balance sheet. We've got amazing people. I'm here today. It's rainy. It's normally never rainy here. I'm on the beautiful island of Puerto Rico. We've been able to attract amazing talent down to this island. We've got Stanford engineers. We've got Harvard lawyers. We're building a very compliant business with top tier talent. So those are the first two key ingredients, I think, that can allow us to move quickly and to continue to innovate. The methodology is pretty simple. Our operating thinking is there's really 4 A's involved. I break it down with accumulation, there's access, awareness, and adoption. In crypto, you can accumulate. Crypto is like a cap table. There's only 21 million Bitcoin. There's never going to be more than 21 million Bitcoin. You're playing a game of accumulation. It's the first asset in the history of mankind that's scarce. Money, you can print more of it. Stock, you can issue more of it. Gold, you can find more of it. Bitcoin, you're never going to find more or create more Bitcoin. There's only one Bitcoin, and there's never going to be more than 21 million. So you can accumulate a lot of the underlying protocols that you feel are going to be the most valuable. Obviously, the price is higher now for Bitcoin than when I first got into it in 2012, and I certainly recognize that. But beyond accumulating, we got to thinking, what are the things we can do to make these protocols more relatable or more valuable? And we break those things into awareness, access, and adoption. So there's accumulation as a private investor, but our tagline as Inmutable Holdings is don't just own cryptocurrency, own the blockchain. What we mean is don't just own cryptocurrency, own blockchain equity in your portfolio. There's a lot of ways to take blockchain exposure. You can buy the Bitcoin mining companies. There's Riot, there's Marathon Patent Group, there's Hut 8. There's a bunch of really exciting companies that you can invest in that are also publicly traded that'll give you that exposure. In Canada, you have Voyager Digital. You have Galaxy Digital. Now you have Coinbase, which is publicly traded. And the list will go on as more companies decide to go public. But owning blockchain equity, businesses building in this blockchain sector, building new infrastructure, that's really, really, really important for savvy investors. So for us, it was, what are the things we can do beyond accumulating a large amount of the underlying protocols we think are going to be more valuable? What are profitable businesses we can build that'll increase awareness, access, and adoption of those protocols and the digital assets on those protocols? So for us on the awareness side, we have 1-800-BITCOIN. We're really passionate about education. Bitcoin can be a very intimidating subject, and the blockchain even more intimidating, right? What is proof of work? What are consensus algorithms? What's the hash rate? And why does that matter, right? And the difference between now proof of work and proof of stake and all of these complex topics, we want to make that relatable. So when you call 1-800-BITCOIN, you're going to be exposed to an information product pipeline, whether you know nothing about Bitcoin or whether you know a little bit and you want to just enhance your education. It'll be everything from Bitcoin masterclasses to information product, ways for people to become more familiar with the subject. And our goal is to make the subject less intimidating. And really, we're going for the mass market. We want everyone from the stay-at-home mom to the savvy Wall Street vet that wants to, expand beyond derivatives and futures and wants to now look at crypto futures. We have an offering for all of the above. So that's awareness. On the access side, we have an asset management business where we built an asset management business that helps people. Today, it's only accredited investors. And that's not our rule. Those are regulatory restrictions, unfortunately, where we can only take outside capital from accredited investors. But we have financial products that we create that allows investors to take exposure to digital assets without actually managing public-private key pairs. And we think that's really important. And we'll do much more on the asset side and much more innovation on the asset management side of things. And finally, when it comes to adoption, we'd be hypocrites if we ourselves were not business builders of infrastructure on blockchain networks. We ourselves are building businesses like NFT.com, which are native to blockchain protocols. So we quite literally are speaking to nodes on the networks. In some cases, we'll probably spin up our own nodes on these networks and allow people to use consumer applications like NFT.com, in some cases without ever knowing they're using a blockchain. Because that's really the future, isn't it, Nir? Right? Using an application, using an iOS app that's powered by blockchain technology without the user having to go through the complexity of onboarding and using crypto. I really think that's where all this is going. We'll have single sign-on authentication apps. Everything that we have of value in this physical world will likely be represented in the form of an NFT or some sort of token, whether that's your title deed to your property or the authenticity certificate of a watch. There's just so much opportunity. So we ourselves on the adoption side want to build a lot of that key infrastructure. So that's our whole thinking. It's accumulation, awareness, access, and adoption. And there's just a whole world of businesses to be built in within that framework. And we're just, we think we're in a special point in time. And I don't know that this lasts forever. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of maturity, a lot of entrepreneurs. If you're graduating college right now, like you're listening to this and you're graduating college, there's literally no other sector I would be looking at. Yes, we need really great doctors. Yes, we need really great scientists. But if you're undecided, if you're not already pre-med and going medical school, if you're graduating in some general business administration or some poli-sci degree, you need to be looking to get meaningfully employed in the world of blockchain and cryptocurrency. It is the future. It is going to disrupt our financial system. And it's so important that we can attract talent.
Wow. I am interviewing here today so many speakers. And I have to tell you, nothing like this. There's nothing like you right now. I'm all the best minds, the leaders, nothing like this. Wow, and this is the point of our summit, and what you're doing here, education, awareness, and doing it big time and building the infrastructure. And I can ask you about the NFT.com business because sure. I heard and I know some of it and it sounds amazing. Give us a little bit of a glimpse of one example of what is it going to be?
Yeah, it's a great question. And the way I'd address it is, today, in the context of your online presence, you don't own it. We all think we do. But look what happened with the former president. Jack Dorsey and a bunch of people putting the decision aside whether it was right or wrong. You don't own your Twitter profile. You don't own your Facebook profile. You don't own your YouTube handle. All those things are lent to you by central decision makers behind these platforms. And we thought, everybody wants this domain name. I mean, compared to what we paid for this domain name, it's worth many multiples of it. It's got to be, in Kevin's words, Kevin O'Leary called it the most valuable domain name on the internet, which is really interesting because it's not for sale. And that's frustrating a lot of people. We have some of the biggest companies in the world calling us saying, let us buy this domain name. So we thought, wouldn't it be really interesting if we didn't necessarily, I wouldn't call it fractionalization of ownership, but what if we issued NFTs that allowed people to own their presence on this profile? And on Twitter, you cannot sell your handle. If you do, it's actually a violation of Twitter's terms of service. There's a black market that formed around Twitter handles. But we figured, hey, instead of worrying like whether it's right or wrong or against the rules to sell a Twitter handle, like what if we issued an NFT, nft.com/near, nft.com/Coin Nation Summit, nft.com/a brand. And what if that NFT, when that's in your wallet, what if we can see it's in your wallet? And if it's in your wallet, there's only one of that token. What if we use that as your single sign-on authentication? Like you literally log into your profile. So we started asking ourselves these questions, and then we started getting a lot of traction with it. Everyone was like, well, hey, I want my profile. And then all of a sudden we bumped into Kevin O'Leary, and he said, I better be nft.com/Kevin. So we said, okay, there's validation here. People want this. The biggest brands in the world want this. The biggest influencers in the world want this. So that's what we decided to do. And then it's, how do we launch this in a fair way? So as we, over the next couple of weeks, you'll start to see us roll out the fairest way we knew how to launch it, which is a fair wait list and a fair leaderboard, where people can join and get on a wait list and reserve their name, and in a very systematic way, become part of this new ecosystem. So there's something, whether you're an NFT collector, we've got something for you. If you just want to display NFTs you have, like, hey, I own nft.com/near. That's my only NFT, but I have it. I want to display that I own it. We've got something for you. If you want to display your crypto punks and your Bored Apes and your Women of Wonder collection and all of that, we can display those too. So we've got a gallery feature set that's going to be really exciting. But if you're a creator and you want to do origination, NFT creation, we'll have an offering there as well. And eventually we want to be a community, a social community of people who recognize the importance of a decentralized social network and decentralized ownership of their online presence. And I really believe, like, what, domain names were the original NFT. Only one person can own yahoo.com. Only one person can own nft.com. But what if we shared in the ownership of profiles there? So we're really excited over what that means. I think it's going to drastically change the social dynamics of how we interact with each other online, knowing like we own these, we own this presence. And there's a lot of really unique things that we're going to do. I can't share yet, but I'm really excited to start to roll that out. And everyone can go to nft.com and just put your name there. And I promise you, if you put your name there, there's no other action to take. You are going to get an email. It is coming soon. It'll start to roll out this quarter. We're in Q4. It's October of 2021, and I'm really excited for people to start to see what we've got in store for them.
Okay, Jordan, you convinced me already yesterday. I joined the team. You're speaking with Mr. Domain Name of Israel when I was 14, just a kid like you started with all your small hacks, like a whiz kid. You convinced me. And you mentioned, how can people sign? How can people see all the other updates? Where is the best place to follow you in person, the company, everything? Where's the best place?
Sure. So we've got a big web presence. Inmutable Holdings is less active on social. I try to keep in touch with people on social regularly, so I am pretty social. You can see me sharing updates from travels. I've been in Canada a lot recently. I love what's happening in Canada. Unfortunately, the United States has not given clear regulatory guidance for the cryptocurrency industry. And you're having a lot of companies like Inmutable Holdings now, which is a Canadian company, go to the north. So I've been spending a lot of time in Toronto. I'm sharing things while we're in Toronto, while we're in Montreal, every part of the journey. We're actually chronicling a lot of it. That's why I've got like a cool ring light here. And, we're building a studio in the office to be able to create more content and share. We want people to follow us as we're building the Berkshire Hathaway of blockchain. So the best way is twitter.com/Jordan Fried. We're launching a YouTube channel. You can subscribe now, but content is some content's there. A lot more is coming. Our goal is to be doing weekly episodes where you can see everything that happened that week at Inmutable Holdings. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot of background noise because our office is under construction and we're still trying to work in here while the office is under construction. So there's a lot going on, but listen, it's a special time to be alive. I'm so grateful to be in this industry. I'm so grateful and humbled to have stumbled in it serendipitously in 2012. And I think for those watching, it's not too late. Like, you can absolutely come in, tweet at me, follow us. I'm Jordan at NFT.com. I'm sure I'm going to get a ton of emails from that, but email, I will do my best to reply to every single person that emails there. And we're just really excited to help people who are not in the space try to get into the space, who are trying to educate themselves. It's really just all about paying it forward, isn't it? So that's what we're trying to do.
Wow. Jordan, I will take this conversation offline right now with you. We will make a deal, some sort of a deal, because I want to be involved in the future, and you're the future, and your team is the future, and it's unbelievable. And I hope that, I guess we're gonna watch this interview some years after and realize how important this was, like your decision to build this ecosystem and this operating system for the new economy. So thank you very, very much. And let's keep in touch.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye-bye.